Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for being on the show this morning. I'm glad you're here on a Monday morning. Sunny Monday in Charlotte. Just came a storm sweeping through yesterday afternoon. Thunder booming. Neighbor's tree, Dan's tree, blew over in the street, and he was out of town. The next door neighbor called him and said, "You had a big tree fall down." And he's thinking, oh my gosh, he's got like 4 huge trees in his yard, and he's thinking, oh no, out of town, did it come through my house? They didn't give me a description. Hey, you had a huge tree fall. Huge, they said. Anyway, Carol and I were out, so we drove home, a few little limbs, and there was a lovely little cherry tree that had fallen over in the yard, and it was about that big around. Anyway, I sawed that down and got it out of the way, and saw him out on the curb this morning. So, he had to go out and I told him I just took my pocket knife, and I said, "Hey, I hate to saw your tree down while you were gone, but I needed some woodland wood for roosters." So anyway, I pray you're well this morning. Let me say hello. Here's the desk, just so you can see. I've had a bunch of stuff scattered out. My paint, this is a Van Gogh box. There's a little, I don't know if that's what he looked like. I've only seen a few pictures, but this was brought to me from Italy on a trip, and I love the size of these pans. They're little half pans for sitting in a bigger well, and so I have my American Journey paint in there, and that's what I paint out of. If you've been looking for this type of painting box or whatever, but paint with what you're comfortable with. Today, I don't even think I'm going to use this today, because I'm going to show you something else that I want you to think of that might help you. This builds up, especially for those folks that are in the class, but it's just something. Yesterday I did a little time-lapse video that I'll show you again here in a minute, and I'll explain a little bit about what I did, and then I'm going to do 2 versions of that on larger paper. I've laid out some, what is this paper? Fabriano, just not because I love this paper. I'm going to paint on the back side of it, but because of the size, because it's going to get a little messy. That's why I put on a clean white shirt today. Let me say hello, and then we'll go from there. Just a quick heads up here. Kaboom. I'll go this route. Good morning to you. Let's see who jumped on the show early this morning. Good grief, you're piling in. Appreciate it. Laura Belushi, thank you. You're always in Attica, New York. And there's Lori Stanley Handelmeyer Henderson. Hey, thanks for being on the show, Lori. Sunday morning there. Cindy Wiltermood, good artist you are. Stephen Dockery, thanks for always being on the show, my friend. Chris Whitaker, Karen Binder, Donna Bullman, good morning to you. Barbara Mayer, Deborah Spangler, Catherine Brissot, Susan Peters from upstate New York, not to be confused with downstate New York or overstate or big old state. And upstate New York is absolutely gorgeous. I went up into Canandaigua, into the Finger Lakes one time. Lake Lakes. I've been watching too many cooking shows. Finger Lakes. And just spent the afternoon reading in a park, had my guitar with me. I felt like a hippie. And it was a long time ago, too. So I just could not believe the drive up through there and just how gorgeous that state really is. Unbelievable. Trina Seal, thanks for being on the show from Fruita. Is it Fruita or Fruita, Colorado? Jennifer Thistle, thanks for being on the show. Gene Peterson from sunny Orlando. Nancy Catlett. Pat Brooks, always good to have you on the show, my dear friend. Susan Clark. Linda Linhart, Teresa Emmerich, Rhonda D. Hart from Faith, Ruth Fulton, always love to have you from the green fields of Ireland. Love it. I thought of you this week. In fact, I mentioned your name at dinner because Carol and I went to a little fish and chips spot, and they had Irish music going, and we eat there every now and then. It's in the little town of Matthews, and we went to the farmer's market and then had a cup of coffee and walked down the street, and she bumped into a jeweler. Mother's Day's around the corner, and the lady welded a little gold bracelet right on her wrist. Okay, she welded it to on the wrist. I'm going like, okay, I got to watch this. So I videoed it for you. I don't have that video together either yet, but her name was Barb Peterson. How about that? That's interesting. Did I just see Barb Peterson? You might have a friend who's a jeweler and you didn't even know it. Gene Peterson. I'm sorry. Okay. See, the name ran through me there. Carol Todd Mundy, Denise Albright, Debbie Bennett, Jacqueline Goodrich, Good morning from the Wine Valley of Oregon. Okay, well, there you go. You know what happens when you step on a grape, right? Nothing. It just lets out a little wine. Boom. John Robert Small, 4,500 feet above sea level. There you are, man. Let's paint, he says. Kim Sheets, slow day in the office, so I can show up today. Great to have you here, Kim Sheets. So there's Jamie Ziegler. I think this is your second day on the show, so welcome once again. She says, cock-a-doodle, do-a-do-a-do. That sounds like an opera for, my favorite rooster opera of all time had to be Roger Miller singing, Ole Wat, Golly Wally Doodle, da day. He wrote those songs for Disney. Skeeter Pal, hey, my friend, Marina Moore, Marty Moore, how are you doing this morning? Good morning there, she says. Marty has more names. Jean Anthalzer, Ruth Fulton. I bought some pens this morning. It says they're waterproof sketching pens, but they might bleed if I be quick. Yeah, you have to be kind of quick. Jim and Jensen, thank you. Jade, oh my goodness, Jane Fay is on from BBC, Indiana. I love it. And that's probably, it ought to be HBC, Honeybee Central, but I love that very much. Jane Fugue has a few of my bee paintings all over the place, and I've had the honey from their hives, and I'm telling you, they are serious about their beekeeping. I love it very much. Thanks for being on the show, Jane. Julie Walden. Julie just became a Patreon member. And Julie, you are such a good artist. I just hope to the good Lord and his blessings that I can push you creatively because you have such a gift. And so that's my job. It's not to paint better than you. It's to push you to paint better than you already do and to think outside the box sometimes. Remember, think like an artist. And that's what Patreon is all about. So I love that very much. Amy Roach, thanks for being on. Southwest Florida. Sue Kane is on from South Australia. All right, Beverly Schmidt, I think I said hello. And so you guys will start looking for each other. Dina Nicholas, you're on this morning. Long time no see. Yes, talk to your husband every now and then, but good. Glad to have you on. June Jones, love having you guys. Mickey Hupp, Lisa Pedisor, Sally Ann Smith, Pat Lightbody. Golly, look at all you guys. Steve Catley, there you are, my friend. Jennifer Parker. Finger Lakes are wonderful, yes. And I haven't been to the Adirondacks. Oh, where do you get the faith journals you paint in? Lori Stanley Handelmeyer Henderson. The faith journals I paint in are literally just a little Bible that I use, and it's the one I use on the class. And this one's, I have it laid out here because I've got some work to do today. I got a small group of people coming by my house tomorrow. So this is made by a Crossway. I was looking for their name and I don't see it. There it is, right? Crossway, Crossway. The first one's scripture journal were given to me. This is the Matthew journal, and this is what folks and I are doing on Good News Rue. I just read something and kind of describe it a little bit and see what jumps out, and then you paint something on this side that reminds you of the story. And it's just been a great way for my heart and my art, and that's what I call it. So they make the full set of the Bibles in this journal. I just happened to were given Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then that turned into me deciding that what if I just did? What if I did? What if I just journaled through them? So that's kind of what they are there. The whole box is a full set that looks like this. There's the whole set right there. Boom. And so it comes loose like this, tips over like this, and I painted all these up to right here. So I'm just trying to get into Thessalonians right now, and then Timothy, and then I've got these to finish. So all these are done. Like if you just pull out one from here, then I can go back and see any stories that I might have painted in here. There's one that looks like, oh, thank you very much, Elvis. But it reminded me of a story here from John that we used to sing a song when I was in 1970 in Knoxville, Tennessee, in a Young Life Club. And I played the guitar, and so I thought I'd do that. And so little stories. Here's the one that, hold on a second. I know I heard my voice. What's my name? And so that's what I'm doing on Good News Rue. That's part of the Patreon thing. If you want a part of that, you can always jump in. And I'm not racing through that, and you shouldn't either. Just take your time and go from there. Thanks for letting me, somebody asked me, and now I just filled up my floor with stuff. Okay, did my show just freeze up? I think it did. Hold on one second. Am I just frozen here? There's that back. There's picture in picture. Yeah, my camera is frozen up over here. Let me go hit this camera just for a second, see if it comes back on. And then I'll go from there. Hold on one second. Hit the cord when I was pulling all those books out. Give me a second. Yada-da. Just talk amongst yourself. You do that already. Well, that's not working very well, is it? All right, hold on. Taking the studio apart here. Well, I'll be. Okay, so we'll just see what happens here in a second. If I can get this thing to come back on or not. It may or may not. I'll come back shortly. Maybe. Maybe I'm not. If you do an online show, you just never know what's going to happen. Some days you eat the bear. Sometimes the bear eats you. How about that? How about that, sports fans? Okay, here, let me, I can solve this. Let me do this right here. All right, so let me come back to you for a second, and I'll see if I can reset the camera or pull in another camera. But here we go. I'm going to show you this just for a second, talk about it. This is going to be the first thing I was going to run this morning anyway, so just got long-winded there saying hello, but I love to do that. Here we go. This is the time lapse that I did yesterday. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to run a minute video again for you here in just a second, and then I'm going to leave this laying here. But here's the painting. I did this in about 3 minutes total, but I cut it down to time lapse to just 1 minute. So you could get a feel for it. And you'll notice a couple times I'll sweep in with a brush, I'll drop my painting on it. We're going to do a painting like this morning. And so there's only 3 colors here, and then I added some black ink. And you'll see when I add the black ink, I drip it here, and it just starts to branch up in here like tributaries in a river. And that's going to come here. You'll notice one place where green starts to roll down his leg, and I reach over immediately, grab a paper towel, and go, boop, and just pop it out. In fact, here's the paper towel. And just grab that out, and then I didn't go back to a palette anywhere, okay? So take note, I didn't go in here and go, okay, I'm going to need some more of this color. I didn't do that. I used only the paint from the painting to go in, so the congruency works because I only started with 3 colors and then a little bit of black ink, so I can pull that in. And my shadow was pulled from right here. You'll watch and see what I do. So I wanted you to see all of that before I run this. So here's the finished product. It's on, see, I even started sketching on this page, and I didn't like the sketch. My camera had stopped. Maybe I should have done the maintenance last night. And so then I've just turned it over real quick, and I wanted a time lapse. I pulled the camera down and shot this. So here it is. Here's what it looks like. That was run last night. Now watch with all the little things I told you. Watch for my brush to reach and pick up other colors here. And what I do, I paint with water first. I just took a bamboo brush, clean water, and carefully in some of the areas, just a little water in some places. And then I use this as my palette. So here we go. And I'll see if I can get my, and boom. To reach under your desk and take out a piano and write a concerto. All right, so this is what you're going to be looking at. It looks like this morning. I've got a camera that's died. I'll run one more video in just a minute, and I'll go grab another camera and throw it on the block and see if it works. Welcome to live TV. I don't know if you watch American Idol, but we're keeping up with a young lady that we love and hope she goes a long way, and can't wait to see her career. But last night they were at Disney, and I think it's Katy Perry that came out dressed as the Little Mermaid, and she actually fell off her chair at live TV, and it was pretty funny, and they laughed it through. And well, live TV is welcome what it is. So here we go. All right, here we go. This is the painting. So let's do another one of these. I'm going to show you what I did with that one. So I'm going to use a little bigger piece of paper. This is as you can see, boom. Here's the paper difference right there. The reason is just because I didn't want to run out and I didn't want to blow art all over the place. And I want to show you two things. So you know that I use these colors from time to time. They are Dr. P.H. Martin Hydrus. They're liquid watercolor. This is not ink. This is liquid watercolor. It responds differently than ink. Ink is loose and also a little more transparent. This is a little more opaque. And so I love this, and I use these three colors. I use the same three colors that I paint with all the time. Gamboge, ultramarine, and a red-blue, either a cad red or, in my palette, I use either a Joe's Red or a Red Hot Mama, but cad red is really close. So I have some cad red here this morning, and it's American Journey paint. And I have a tube. I've already squeezed that up. I see that. Of ultramarine, and I have some gamboge. So these three colors just in these. These tube colors, the soft pliable colors, are the ones that I put in my palette each week that I spray with the bottle and yell at them and say, wake up. So that's kind of where I go with that process. I'm going to put that over there. I'm going to paint one with these colors, and then I'm going to change direction and say, if I don't have these colors and I don't want to go spend $9 a bottle for these, they last a long time. Okay, I've had these for over a year and a half. If I use them every day, that's a different thing, but I don't. I use them once or twice a month. So, but I want to show you how to do the same thing with these colors. Okay, so let me show you how to do the same painting that I just did, like this, with these colors and these colors. Does that make sense? So here's your full-blown demo today. And I'm going to sketch with a Lamy fountain pen. And here we go. So the thing that I want you to do here is, if you've ever said about playing with art and not making it a laborious task, this is not a task. And this is not like playing golf in the Masters, okay? Nobody's going to care if you miss the putt. Nobody cares anyway. So the point is that you need to do things like this to push you. And this is what I talk about all the time on Patreon when you're a part of that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to sketch the head of a rooster and then a little bit of the tail. And I'm going to put it this way for me today to show you. I'm going to put his tail on my right because I'm right-handed and I like dragging in this direction. I don't mind going this way because I do it all the time. But I'm just going to show you these. One of them is going to be looking forward like this. And I just messed up his beak. In fact, yeah, that's all right. That's all right. It doesn't matter. See, I told you I'm just playing here. So there's that. Bring that down like so. And then I'm just going to go in here and come down with his foot like this. Is all this in the drawing? Yeah, I think you can see all this. Okay, so there we go. That's him. If I wanted to do that hackle feathers, I could break that little brink right in here and come in. And notice what's happening. This ink is really laying on top of this paper, and so my hand is already smearing it a little bit. I'm just going to go right there and leave that alone. Okay, so now I'm going to get some clean water, and we need some music for this. This just needs music. All right, so here we go. Just dancing a little water in here, coming in very carefully right here. Look where I'm hitting that ink. You see what's happening to it? You want to see an ink pen that bleeds? Well, Lamy ink takes off like crazy. All right. So I'm just going to splatter some water in there like so. Just let it go where it needs to go. Splattering, splashing it. I really can't see it. Maybe if I hold it up a little bit, you can see some of the... Now there's a little glimmer right there. You see it? Oh, there's a little bit right there. I got to be careful because it rolls around everywhere. In fact, it's taken off. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of blue and I'm just going to drop it right in the tail here with this eyedropper. And get ready. Here it goes. And from way up high, about almost a foot. Oh. All right. And then just let it just lay there for a second and sort of seep in. And watch what it's doing. It's following the water, okay? It's just following the water. And look, it's spreading out. Where the paper is beginning to soak it in, you're getting all these undulations. You're getting these little tributaries. I'm just tapping the paper here a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a little bit of red right here. Boom. And I'm going to put a little red here because this is going to be the comb. So far I'm into this less than 40 seconds. You see what's happening here. You see how my drawing was not that important. All right. And I want a little bit of green in here, so watch this. I'm going to grab this right here and just drop a little yellow here. And I'm going to put a little yellow on the beak, and I'm going to put some yellow right there. And I missed it. I missed the rooster. All right, so I'm going to grab some of this blue, and I'm going to start turning it into the feathers. And then I'm going to pick up some of this and let it mix with the blue and turn it into some green down here. All right. Now here's where you need a good paper towel. And I'm using this, this is the JB 100 brush. This is a sweet bamboo brush that I hate to tell you that I'm using it because it's not even made anymore. But you're going to love it if you ever get your hands on one close to it. And Yasutoma is trying to recreate this brush with another family. A sad story about this brush, as you know, some of you know this, 6 of their family members who've been making this brush for like 60 years for Yasutoma, 50 years for Yasutoma, they died during COVID. And so it really hurt the art industry. And you go, oh my gosh, really? I mean, it was their livelihood and their living. And so they're trying to find another family who has the means or the ability to make this brush. And you think, oh, that's ridiculous. No, it's really the way they made it and how they put it together. It's just fascinating. So, okay, so let's give you an idea of how fast this can come together. And look, see all these colors that are just mixing on their own? Don't mess that up. Let it alone. All right, I need some orange, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to find myself a little bit of orange. Some red here. There's some orange there. Why do I need orange? Well, I got to put a leg on this rooster. And notice I didn't do 2 legs. Well, I could have, but let's just put the other one over here somewhere. Let's just put it out here like this. Boop, boop, boop. And a little bend in the elbow right there. All right, so there's that start. And let me go get some more of that orange, just using my bird as the palette. If you haven't done this yet, I really recommend that you try it sometime on a big enough piece of paper with enough paint to get messy. And then I need a little bit of this dark here and a little bit of the green to just come in and create the earth, because I want to have my roosters grounded always. And a little bit of this blue to just create, and purple to create a little bit of a shadow. And then maybe a little bit of this blue here to create a little shadow of that tail. Okay, so look at this. Now, you see what's happening here. I've got this big area that's just kind of a big holiday. I think I'm going to leave it, and I'm just going to let this dry as it pleases. I do want to put a little more green up there, and I wish I had just a touch more blue. Enough blue in the sky to make a pair of cat britches is what my brother always said. And man, I'm loving this rooster. And this part is got me bumfuzzled a little bit, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch it right there and just leave it alone. And I might create a splatter here with a little bit of this red that's building up. I think I like that coming out from the hackle, just like so. Oh, man. Okay, so you're talking about, that whole song was about 4 minutes. And so you're talking about 4 or 5 minutes here, and I've just created this little rooster. So what if this water runs off the page? Does that bother me? No, I could care less. Okay, and now what about if I go in here and get a Pentel 07 and just carefully, because I can't put my hand down, rest my finger here and just create a little bit of an eye here like that. And maybe some eyelashes and a few marks. And then I want to do some veining on the feet. come out like that. A few toenails come out like that. I'm going to put this one aside and let it start to dry. I could come in here. Now, there's a big pile of paint in the middle, okay? So take a look. You can't see it, but this is raising up like my hand cupped right here. And and this one's raising up, so it's creating a pond right here. And all that dark is going in. So watch what happens when I pick up the colors and let it run back. Take a look. You see it? See it going down? All right. Look. You're seeing reds show up that you didn't even know were there, okay? I'm tilting the paper up. This is why I don't tape my paper down. I just let it buckle. It's going to frame flat, okay? So I'm going to hold this here for just a second. And if there's still too much, it's going to run back some. I'm going to take a little bit of a paper towel right here, or napkin, and I'm going to go right here, and I'm just going to soak up a little bit of that. And just put a couple little lighter spots right in there, like so. And I think this needs to have a little touch on it right here. Maybe a little of that darkness shadow on the leg right there. Then I'm going to grab my pen right here, grab another brush, and just sort of splatter like this. There's one thing that I'd like to add, just a little highlights. So I'm going to get some titanium white here. And I'm just going to put a little dot of titanium white right there. Well, why don't I just put a lot of dots right there, since this is just now all over me. That's why I wear a white shirt right there, because you can't see the white ink, but you can certainly see the red when I do that. Well, that just was, that could have been hazardous. I think that was open from yesterday. All right, so let me get a little bit of, I'm going to get a brush here and just go get a little bit of this white right here on my brush. See, I'm just using this again, and I'm going to just splatter some of that right in there, just like that. There's a spot right there. I'll just get little highlights right up in there. You know, just like the sun's glistening off of his comb just a little bit, all right? I need a little spot of yellow. Can I just heighten this yellow just a little bit? Right, perfect, okay? All right, so there we go. Now what I would do here is I just literally sign this, Roodoodles.com. All right, there you go. So there's the painting. Come in here with a pen when it starts to dry a little bit. See, he says, when it starts to dry, or now, who cares? And then just put a little bit of a detail in this. He's a woolly booger. He got that pen all, look at this. I'm going in and got that pen all in his beak, and it's bleeding in there. So if you want to see a pen bleed, use a lamy. And then here, I'm just going to draw some detail in his feathers. Look at this right here. Just kind of using my pen. I can also paint with this pen. You're saying, what? Yeah, just drag it through the paint. Let it drag in there. Love this. Love this. That's a hair. If you did a DNA sample on this rooster, you could see that it would be mine. Okay, there you go. That's a good roo. You know what? We'll auction him off here one day real soon. Let's get another piece of this paper. I think I have a piece right here. Remember, what we were shooting for is something that drives out something like this. So that's the one I did. All right, so here's the trick. You're saying, well, great, Roo. Love it. I referred to myself in the third person. I don't have these, so what should I do? But do you have some like this? If you don't, do you have little cakes that you might could chip off a piece of the cake, like you do when you're dyeing eggs? Look, if you're dyeing eggs, or here's what I would do. So I went and got some, I was going to get some ramekins out of the cabinet this morning, and I thought, or I could cut the bottoms off of plastic water bottles. And then I saw, oh, Carol has these little metal cupcake plates or makers. I don't know why who wants to bake an individual cupcake, but it's my wife who is the bon vivant. So here's what I'm going to do. Look at this. I put 3 of these down here. They're just a little fluted. I don't know if the flute will help me. It may pour out both sides. But I'm going to just drop a little bit of this into here, like so. There's a little spot right there. Just a little bit. I mean, that's probably way too much. And then I'm going to drop a little bit of gamboge down in, wait a minute, get out of there. Gamboge in this one right here. Oh, baby, that's a lot right there. Let's see if this is enough. And then this one I squeezed the other day with that cool tool that was called the Big Squeeze. And so I got all this ultramarine up there. So there's a little bit of ultramarine right there. Okay. So they're my 3 colors. So I just squeezed these in here. And now I'm going to reach down. Here we go. I got a little bit of just regular water from, oh wait, this is my drinking water. Where's my other water? Oh, well, they're both the same. Never mind. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm just going to put a touch in. Maybe 2 tablespoons. Maybe one. Maybe one. Maybe one. And then I'm just going to let those soak there a second, and then I'm just going to mix them up like this. Oh my gosh, it's so much paint. You've never seen as much paint. That's enough to paint a barn. And I'm not real sure why I used that brush, but it worked pretty well, so I'm going to use it for the other one. I got to make sure it's really clean. I'm just taking a number 8 watercolor brush, make sure it's clean. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to mix these up. I think you can see exactly what I'm doing. Just give it a good mix. That soft brush works real well in this. Hey, if this works, I might be going to get me some. Well, no, wait. I'm going to go get Carol some new ones because I probably ruined these, but I don't think so. It's watercolor. We have a dishwasher. His name is Roo. Okay. Wash every Tuesday night. Cooking class night. That's my job. Okay. I come downstairs about 11:30 on Tuesdays once a month and say, okay, how big a mess did those women make tonight? Oh, shoot, I just dropped paint there. All right. So there's my 3 colors. Boom, done. Cad red, gamboge yellow, and ultramarine blue. And so what if we did a rooster, but what if you were a landscape painter? If you were, why don't you just draw a landscape? Maybe we'll have time, I'll try one. I'm not really a landscape painter, but I hate my camera died, not because you can't see my big old mug, but just simply because it's sort of fun to look up there and give you a little nudge and give it goof off. So, all right. So Gretchen Hay Smith, thanks for being on the show. Could you use a permanent pigment pen to draw your peeps? Not worry about any bleed. Laura, I could, but here's what I don't like about that. It's a good question. And if you got a question, go QQQ and I'll try to answer it, especially if I'm in the conversation. If I'm not in the conversation, well, I can't help you. Why did I just turn that over or what? Does this one have a leak in it? All right, so here's what I'm going to say. The reason I don't use another permanent color pen or other permanent pigment ink or pens is I want the bleed. Why I like about the bleed is the bleed. Okay, does that make sense? Look at this. I love this right here. This is what I love. I love when there's a line, or I love when there's a line, and let's see if I have something that doesn't bleed. I don't think I have anything up here that really doesn't bleed because this is my style. So if I put water on this and water on this, and I let them sit just for a second, look at this. This is what I love. And there's 2 things about this that I like. It softens this line that doesn't make it look like coloring book hard. And that's a personal taste. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm looking at the camera and it's not even on. I'm such a habit creature. You see how this line is broken up soft right here? The edges look like they're a little ragtag like this. This one, not as much on this paper. So for me, I like that in my paintings. I like that I've softened the edge up. Lots of folks years ago used to use that. By the way, that went right in the trash can. Lots of folks years ago used to use a flare pen or maybe even a soft pencil to get that blur in there. Maybe even some ink sometimes. And I went, oh, ink. And so I just started using fountain pens for that purpose. So I love that bleed. So for me, it doesn't get old. It just makes me realize I have to sketch a little differently sometimes, and I'll give you an idea. I'm just going to go ahead and draw this. No, I'm not. I'm going to draw this one looking back. So there he is right there. There's his beak. Here's his comb. He's coming down like this. I'll go ahead and pick up the same pen so you can see what happens here. We'll bring him around. We'll bring his foot down like this. And we'll do his foot up just like we did the other one, kind of a quick little sketch. And I'm just going to go in here and go one line out, and I'll do the same piece. I'm going to change pens so you can see a little different. All right, so there it is right there. There's his eye. I went ahead and put eye on this one. Okay, so there's, and we'll cross hatch this one like I do sometimes. Just go ahead, draw some cross hatch on this like so. Need a little bit of music. We'll change music and then I'll do this one. And this time I'm going to do it with these 3 colors that I just mixed out of these tubes. If you're just joining, what if I don't have this? Well, make your own. It's going to be a little messier, but for heaven's sakes, that's what life's all about in the art world, okay? Donna Buckley needs a one with Payne's Gray. Yeah, that's good. All right, here's a little piece of music that's 4 minutes long. So here's what's happening. All right, let's add some water. Got to have some water to make this work. It's called watercolor. If you pour this on here right now, you're just going to get a big old glob of paint, which you can add some water, but it's going to be a dark spot wherever you put it. So for me, I am painting in the shape of the feathers that I kind of want, but at the same time, I'm just throwing some color, some water out there. Here, I'm just dancing the brush and letting it sort of bleed in. Can you see it already breaking the lines down a little bit? All right. I was hoping this music was going to be just a little brighter than that. Come on, Cody. All right, so here we go. All right, so there's a little bit of water. Now let's just grab this, and here we go. I'm going to take a little blue and just pour it out of the cup. I'm going to pour it like this so I think you can, here, pour it like this so I think you can see it a little better. All right, it's coming out. Oh my gosh, it's going to come out 3s if I'm not careful. Whoa! Maybe just a tad more. All right, is the concentrate strong? Probably not, but remember, maybe I put too much water. Now I'm just going to shake some out of my brush on there. Oh, that's be a good way to do it. Well, that's messy. Okay. Now I'm going to clean that brush out. Go get some of this red right here. Just put some of the red right here. Drip. Put a little bit over here. Can you do it without messing up the whole room? I don't know. Whoop! Got a little drop on there. All right, let's see what happens if I put some of this right in here. Look at this. Of course, I got all that paint to paint with now, don't I? I like it. I like it a lot. All right, put a little yellow back in here, get some of this green going. So if you don't have liquid watercolors, you can make your own. If you really like that look and you like just playing with the kind of the mess, getting some of that, adding a lot of water so the paper's beginning to bulk up. Remember this, I'm still looking at the camera that's not there. Remember, this has to do with how much water you put in the process too. So if you're using too much, you're going to get paper that buckles too much. Some of you say, well, the paper's beginning to double up. What am I supposed to do there? And you go, well, you've either got too much water or you've got too much water, or you might have too much water. So a little red here, pick that up, create a little orange on the back of this coming down. Now I need some orange, so I'm going to pull something right here and just make it. That's going to be my orange for my feet. Okay. This music was only 3 minutes long when I started it, so I've still got a minute to go. I think I can finish this in a minute. Watch this. I'm going to pick it up again and let some of this puddle go toward the feathers. Here we go. All right. The question is, what would this look like on a landscape? We're going to find out because we got 20 minutes of show left, so we're going to have some fun with this. And I got plenty of paint. You know what happens if I put a little more yellow in there? Boom. I get this. You can see I didn't have the pigment as strong on this one as the other one. You gotta love that though, huh? I'm just letting my brush dance here. Cool. All right, we need some grass color. How about this right here? This is a pretty little grass right there. Let me a little greener. There's some greener green. How about a little blue? How about a little yellow? Let's just make some greener green here. There we go. With a little bit of shadow. Get some of this off. Watch this. Go back in and get just a little more beautiful yellow here and come in with a little touch of red on top of that. Create that orange. And here we go. I'm going to go back in with this color, go back here with this, Just let it bleed in there until you get it. Now, if I want to lighten that up a little bit, I'm going to take some of this and just take out some of it as it goes back through there. Create a little bit of that. I want a little more red right here in the bottom of this body. I want a lot of red in there. This rooster's going to look good in red. Lady in red. Okay. It's not a lady in red, though, is it? No. All right. So there we go. And then maybe just a little bit of some beauty marks there, a little bit of yellow there. So there's another root. Okay. How do you keep your, let me see, June asks, how do you keep your little peeps from going gray when the pen bleeds? One is I use a smaller pen. Don't use a 7 or the Lamy for the little peeps. Okay, that's a great question, but I'll show you right now. Let me put that down there on the carpet. Whew. And hope that it's okay. Let's see, you got a question about little peeps. Well, let's see if I can scale it up. All right, here we go. Let me scale this up. If I did a peep with this right here, here's one of my little peeps right here. Okay, so there's a little peep. This is Lamy. This is the Lamy peep. Okay, this is the 07 peep. Pintail. This is the 05 peep. See, here's where you have to be, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. I mean this in a jokey, fun way. Somebody asked me yesterday, I took a friend a compressor down to his farm, and he said, how did you get that compressor in your truck? It wasn't a compressor, it was a generator, and it was a 13 horsepower generator that my neighbor had passed on to me, and I said, I'll give it to the farm. Those guys could use it. And he said, how did you get that in there? And he said, who came to help you? And I said, nobody. And he said, well, I don't understand how you got that in your truck. And I said, you have to be smarter than the object that you're putting in the truck. And so in this case, I just need you to be smarter than the pen and the paper. And so what I mean is, the reason that I have, and people say, how many pens does an artist need? And the answer to that is enough. And it's never enough. And so the point is that what I need to do here is I need to make sure that I have enough pens to get done what I need to get done. So let me show you one more of these. This is the 05 right here, 05. And this is a little peep going back this way. He's looking at the rest of them. And these are just little stubby peeps. You understand what I'm doing here. This little peep here, this little peep went to the market. He's done with a ultra fine flare, which is discontinued. Did not finish. Okay. The company, which I had a little meeting with them again, and said, you guys have messed up my entire world of watercolor because you changed this pen because you thought you were doing something great for office people and you left the artist out. All right, so look at this. This was the Lamy. So if I start here and I'm just going to paint the Lamy, I can do this pretty easy. But if I start touching the lines, you can see that I'm going to get gray in a major way. Okay, see that? All right. Okay. And then I'm going to create, same with the beak here. I'm just going to get, but there's a good news about that. You know what the good news is? Little chicks have a lot of browns and grays and blacks in their wingtips and their pin feathers. So it looks kind of good. All right. However, if I do the one in 07 out of the same dish, and you can't see what I'm doing, here's the dish right here. If I do it in the same way and I come in like this, take a look at this one. Same brushing technique, different pen. Look what's happened. Look at this one. Same brushing, different pen, lots of paint, less bleed. Why? Well, smaller pen, but also it dries quicker than a fountain pen ink. So I know how my pens bleed. This is why I do this over and over and over with you guys. So you go, oh, if I use a micron pen that's permanent, I won't get any bleed. What did you use this one for? Because this one bleeds Payne's Gray, Donna Buckley. There it is right there. I did it on purpose when you put Payne's Gray. So I get this look that's a little gray that I love. Now, what I could do is I could come in with a touch of red and just put a little piece of red right there on these, right in there, and let that bleed into some orange like this. Don't you love it when you just mix on the bird? Yeah. But what I love here is this is the '07. Look, I can come in here. You see it bleed now? This is the '05. I come in here. This is the fountain pen. If I put this down, it's going to start blowing ink all over the place, you can see. But you also learn something right here, is that this doesn't write on water like these two do. So I learned that about my pens too. And neither does this little foam pen, or flare. And it doesn't worry about this one because you can't find it anymore anyway. So, but I wanted to show you the difference. So all of these would fly in my coop. Every one of these little birds would fly really well. No pun intended. So does that give you an idea of what you got there? The pen, that's why sometimes I love this fuzzy line. To me, this looks like a paint stroke that I never could have gotten any other way, okay? Will ink run on cold press or better on hot press? Believe it or not, that's a great question. It runs better on cold press. Why? It's because those undulations hold it up and it gets down inside the opposites, the concave and the convex. It gets in the opposites and it puddles down there. So on hot press paper, it tends to want to dry out faster. The best way to show you that is, this is all stuff that art class that we would be doing in art class, but I wanted to show some of you folks who want to know what we do in art class. If I draw one of these little peeps here on smooth sketching paper, this looks more like a hen, but if I give you a little idea, here's an '07. And I'm sorry that I always draw roosters, but after all, I am Roo, and that's kind of what I do. So those of you who draw frogs can do that. So if I come in here right now, and I'm going to do this with yellow again, and I come in here just while it's still wet, but look what's happened. I don't get half of the bleed that I did before. Why? Because the paper is soaking it up. And here I'm probably going to get no bleed. Okay, almost nothing at all. So this looks like I drew it with a Sharpie. Here I'm getting a little bit. Now, let me go to a piece of, I think you can still see this. I'm drawing these peeps big enough that you can see it. All right, let's go ahead and do a little swirl line down here, and I'll put another piece here and come in. Okay, so now take a look. I'm going to go with the same brush, same ink, same time limit, just let it pop in, and look what's happening now. Look at the amount of bleed that you're going to get with rough paper. See the difference? Okay, so the question is, either on a stock paper or a smooth paper, that ink seeps in just a whole lot faster. It doesn't have anything to hold the moisture up, so it soaks in. Crazy, isn't it? So that's the experiments that you have to do. That's why you have several different types of paper while you're working on your style. This is the thing that I will work hard to drill people on. You just have to spend more time on your art, more time on your crafts. I'm looking at that camera over there this morning, and it's not even there. All right, let me see if there's any other QQQs up there. QQQ, search. Do you ever use different colors that Lammy has? I do not. Sometimes, Karen, I know Jason will use a brown or a sepia or a red, but I would rather introduce those in watercolor and just let my pens be black. Also, I was somewhere recently and I had put a blue ink cartridge in one of my pens. I put it in one of the other one I can't find. No, this is one, I can't find one of my Kakuno pens. It's driving me crazy, but it'll show up one day. I put a blue filler in one of these just to see if I liked it, and I didn't at all. And so I just took it out and dropped it in water and just let the rest of it wash out. And so I'm not a fan. It's just my style. I don't care for that. Using Artist Loft 140 pound in paper is not running. Not good for this. Elaine, I'm going to tell you something about Artist Loft 140 pound. It is, I'm just going to tell you to it bold and blunt like I would if you're in the painting class. It's really inferior paper. It is not a good rag cotton. It doesn't hold the ink well. and it really won't help you become a better artist. It's just an inferior watercolor paper. So I know it's inexpensive, but someday when you get to a point where you're painting things that you want to really keep and keep paint on and give it to friends, invest in a little better paper. That is a hard thing to say to artists who are saying, gosh, art supplies are expensive, but it's a strong thing to say. Better paper means better results. Better paint means better results. The reason I use American Journey is not because it's the best paint made, because it is light fast and it's bold and it stands up well on the paper that I've chosen. So I hope that makes sense. So when you say Artist Loft paper, I know about that paper. I know who sells that paper. I know where it comes from, and it's just not made as quality. And so the run is a lot smoother, and so you won't get a bleed on that. It's really not a cotton paper, nor is it a true cold press paper. And they'll probably send me a note and say, you don't know what you're talking about, but I'll invite them over and sit down at the desk and we'll just waste some paint and paper and we'll talk about it. And so Hobby Lobby has done the same thing. They said, we're going to send you some of our new paper because we know you don't like our Master's Blend. And they asked me about it point blank. And I said, here's the truth. Here's the way I feel. 4 of them were standing in front of me when they asked. And I said, look, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm just a guy who plays with watercolors, and I'll paint on phone books and in book covers. But you asked me specifically about your paper. And so there's a good question. All right, so let me go back to these. So anyway, that'll give, and that's not to pick on anyone. Please hear that. I don't care what you paint on. I don't care what you paint. Just tried it. I don't usually use it. Yeah. So Elaine, that'd be the thing. It's just an inferior paper, and so sometime take yourself out to the ballpark, and when somebody wants to give you a Mother's Day gift or a Father's Day gift or just a birthday gift, and you say, hey, give me some money to an art supply store and let me try 10 different types of papers. And by the way, Cheap Joe's does this. They will send you a sample stack of some of their papers and cut it into small pieces and paint on it. You notice what I'm doing here? I rip pieces like this and I paint on it so you can see. Look at this. Cold press, regular, this is just 30 pound or 100 pound. This is 100 pound paper. But look, this is really for painting bamboo on, for this is like Chinese paint that you would paint bamboo on. And so we would go in here, and then we would get these little lines, and then we would do the little leaves. So this is Japanese paper more than anything else. And so you can drop some blue on that, drop some yellow on that. If you haven't painted like I'm painting out of little containers like this, mix up some of your paint sometime and just let it loose and let it run. I'm going to show you one more thing while I was doing this, okay? Let me just do this, and I'll do it on this paper. Just the cheapest paper I can find here. This is, like I said, it's a... all right, this one's got to go in the trash because it's got wet paint on it. Whoops. All right, here we go. How about just a little, how about something like this right here? What if we just painted a hillside in here out of some water and then brought it in like this and a little more. I can't see really where this is going. I can't even really see it. But let's go in here and just grab a little bit of blue and just sweep it across like this. Let it just kind of run in there the way it needs to, and just have a little bit of a light wash. And then let me come in with some of this yellow and just drop it in and just let that start to turn to green. And see if we can't create a hillside here for a little landscape. I just want to try this. And then I'll do it another way. We can sketch it after we do the landscape, or we sketch it before. So I was thinking maybe we could do it during. The hillsides that you look at have a little bit of blue, have a little bit of green. Let's drop a little bit of red right in here because I'm going to get to blue and red. And I'll show you why in just a second. I'm going to create a little bit of yellow in that too. And we're going to create some brown down here for just a tree line. I want a little more yellow here, a little more blue. So the goal is, and you see this paper buckling like crazy, it's saying, help us, you're using too much water. But you get an idea of where this might go. Now let me show you what it looks like on watercolor paper. Let's see if I can have another piece here. I think I got an old piece here of Fabriano. Here's the pieces. It's got a cut in it, but I might can do it anyway. Let's see. Throw this over here. I love doing this for you guys because I think it helps you. Let's do it this way. There we go. This piece, I cut something on that, so it's got knife marks all over it. And then I'll have to stop this morning and fix my camera before the class tomorrow. Hey, the class is on, it's called Think Like an Artist, and it's on Patreon. It'll actually come up on Facebook, but it's a protected program on Patreon. If you want to be a part of the class, you can actually sign on Patreon. It's a whole outrageous $11.57 a month, but that's it. And I'll pay once a month a 90-minute class. So we'll go into questions and answers, and then on the other Tuesdays, that's the first Tuesdays a month, the other 2, 3, and 4, I will paint. I'll do Good News Roo, where I just sit down with a cup of tea and I'll answer any questions you got on painting too that I might can answer. And so look, I don't have all the answers. I am new at this, as in the last 10, 11 years. I'm really new into this live stream stuff, those of you who are just joining me. So here's a little bit of just a landscape. So I just drew this little landscape and I drew it in a pencil. Why? Because I want you to see how a pencil looks with this. And then I might come in right here and just put in some little bit of a, why would I want to bleed right here? Why would I want to create a bleed right here? Maybe because there's a little bit of a tree line right here. So what if I just took some of this and just create a little squiggle line? Let's see what it works. Here's where I play. Here's how I learn to do things, okay? So let's go in here and let's get a little bit of blue. And let's come in and let's get some water first. Let's just bring some water in here and just let me go ahead and start that line just fuzzing up a little bit. Look at that. You see that line help me right there. Look at the difference between painting on the pencil and painting on this black line. Look what I just created right here. I just created a little tree line. And how you know it's a tree line? Because I'm going to put some green in there in just a second. I'm going to put a little bit of blue. I'm going to put a little bit of green. And then I'm going to just let this run back, and I'm going to create this hillside that looks a little green. And come back in like this. Man. And a little touch of blue, touch of green. Maybe a little touch of red right here, and then some blue on that red to get a little purple right in there, or a little brown coming in, just a little bit, a little more. If I get some more of that, and maybe a little more of this, add a little more of that, and a little bit of this. So you can see where this is going. It's beginning to take shape, and I love what's happened here. Can you see where I just slid that up in there? I just got this whole line of trees up in the top that looks a little bit like a landscape. Don't you love that? Come on. Come on, you got to love that. And I'm not even a landscape painter. I'm just saying, I'm just playing here. If I were out doing a sketch thing, now if I wanted to come in here and build a road coming down, I could bring my road in like this. I could put some fence posts along the edge of that road. Look at this. I love when this stuff happens like that, and it's just sporadic and spontaneous. And so, and then, what if I came in right here with this pen and I did some more of those little trees like this? Maybe there's a stack of pines. In the pines, where the sun is shines, and a shiver when the cold wind blows. Longest train I ever saw was on the seaboard line. The engine passed at 12 o'clock. The caboose went by at 9. Okay, I think you see where that's going to go. If I just kept at it a little bit, could you turn this into a serious landscape painting? You bet you could. And you're talking about under 2 minutes of playing here for a journal or something that I love to do. And you see where my pencil line stays. I'm not erasing the pencil. I love that. In fact, I might follow this pencil line down here and create that other thing. I might put a long tree right out here. Just a big old long pine tree. Look at this. I got 2 minutes left. I can put in a pine. I can put an oak tree with a tire swing. Nope, not going that detail. Might put in a pile right here of just brush, and watch this. I'm going to put in some yellow on there and then put a little blue in there and just create a green big old brush pile right there. And then let's let this green be this tree. See, once again, use my painting as a palette mix. So take a look. Okay, You see what happened? I'll let some of this dry, and then I could come back and I could add a little more blue. What if I put some sky in there? What if, he says, what if a frog had wings? He wouldn't wear out his fanny jumping. That's not in the book, Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, but it should be. But I couldn't find any place in it for art. My dad would say that to me. I'd go, Dad, what if? What if? And he goes, son, what if a frog had wings? He wouldn't wear out his bottom jumping. I'm sure I said things to my kids that they're going, yeah, my dad used to say that. I don't know what he was talking about. Yeah, they did. Now they're using it with their kids. All right, that's kind of fun, huh? All right, a little more, need a little purple right here. Purple Majesty. Chickaboom. Ooh, look at that. A little storm cloud coming by on the desert there. All right. And maybe a little sunshine coming up on this side of the hill over here. Don't you love wet on wet? Take a look at what it's doing. It's just running away. And so there's this little landscape that that just happened. Okay, so how did it happen? It happened because I added water to cold pressed paper. Cold pressed paper affects the water and how it undulates, how it lays, how it accepts the water, and then you're in charge. And here, remember, this is 3 colors. Here they are right here. That's it. That's it. And you're going like, come on. That's purple. Right. That's green. Yes. That's black. Yeah, maybe. It is from where you see it. But it's a little bit of ink piled in there with a little bit of beautiful blue, and the top of this hillside is going to go a little bluer. I can just tell you that it is because it needs to. When you look at the hills, and hey, they're called the Blue Ridge Mountains for a reason, okay? All right. I love it, I love it, I love it. 33 seconds for this piece of music to end. I beat it under 4 minutes. And look, I almost used up all these. Now I've got to go wash them out with hot scalding water and put them back in the cabinet. Because Carol might make some cupcakes. Actually, she doesn't even make cupcakes. I want her to make scones. She's making scones this week. All right, so last time I want you to see this. Ready? I'm going to run it right now. Here's the painting, and here is the time lapse. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Here it goes. Boom. Okay, so there you have it. 3 colors, 3 different looks at how I painted it, some looks at some ruse, and I picked on you for bad paper. Hey, seriously, you know, you can paint on anything you want. Like I said, you can paint on copy paper, but you're not going to be happy with the results, and neither are the people that you give it to and they frame it, because in about 6 months, it's just going to dissipate and go away. So buy the best colors you can afford. Some of you have Daniel Smith, some of you have Rembrandt, some of you have HTC. You know, you have Daniel Smith. You have all these great colors. My point is, I love American Journey because of its light fastness and its smoothness. And you saw me mix it with water today. I love the Hydrus pH Martins because they're so cotton picking bold. And that's part of my style. This is a wet on wet project that just took off on a piece of scrap paper. And have I been to this place before? Yes, I know it well. In fact, I'm the guy that built the fence, and I know exactly where this is. So is it out of my past? Is it from where I'm part of? Could I go in when this dries and bring a little bit of brown to it? Maybe a little bit of black in this hillside right in here just to get some shadow where that sun's coming up. And I'm out of here. It's after 10 o'clock. Those of you who are painting with me on Think Like an Artist and Patreon, I'll see you in the morning at 8:57. And if you want information on Patreon, there's a link on my Facebook page that says Patreon. You can go there and read all about it. And thanks for doing that. It helps support me as an artist as I come and bring encouragement and even get to pick on you some. I appreciate you guys doing art. And I've got to interview two young ladies that I met Saturday morning. And so they're both in high school and they're both were out selling their work. And I can't wait to get a little interview with them to tell you what they're doing and what they want to do. And it inspired me as an older artist to say, stay behind the mule. The book's called Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. That's one of them. And I got lots of stuff going on. I'm out of here. Here it is right here. Have a blessed day. Take your cup right now. Got it? Take a sip. Think about who you're going to encourage today. Somebody you know needs a text, needs a call, needs a little one of your paintings. They need a word from you that says, an email that says, hey, thought about you this morning. Hope you're being creative. And hope you're shining like the sun coming up on the landscape. Look at this right here. It's just still running on this piece of paper. This is why I love good 100% rag cotton paper. See you next time.